1 o'clock rules meeting, which is taking place at 10 minutes after 3. All right. I'd like to ask Councilor Thornton, would you give us the blessing?
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful weather that we've had this whole winter. And be with each and every council person and the administration here, and help us to make good decisions for our people. And also be with our troops that's overseas and around the world, and protect them, help their families get through deaths that may occur over there, and bring the ones home that all of them we can get to bring home safe, because they're in harm's way. And in Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Chet Hopkins Jr.
Here.
David Walkenstick.
Here.
Buell England.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Joe Byrd. Julia Coates. Jody Fishenhop.
Here.
Meredith Straley. Janelle Fulbright. Here. John Garvin. Frankie Hargis.
Here.
Hannah Gordy Jordan.
Present.
Lee Keener. Dick Lay.
Here.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
David Thornton.
Me.
Kara Cowan Watts.
On it.
We do have a quorum.
All right, now we'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes. We have several sessions of minutes to approve. First, the December 13th minutes. Your motion?
Make a motion to approve. Second.
So moved and second. All in favor, say aye. I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, there was some miscommunication between Shelley and I'm taking ownership, but I do not think that the December meeting minutes are where I would like them. So I'm going to vote no. It's not that they're inaccurate, it's just that they're missing pieces, and I was not able, because of the miscommunication, to get that done, but I'm not going to ask to delay it any further.
Thank you, Councilor. All right. Remind me, did we have a vote on that? Did we have a vote? All right. All for the same sign on the December 13th minutes.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. January 16th, 2012, impeachment subcommittee minutes. All right, entertain a motion for...
I entertain a motion that we approve.
All right, Councilor Keener, second.
Second.
Second by Councilor Garvin. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, now we move to the January 26 minutes, and Shelley has passed out a revised version of the January 26 minutes. So not the version that appears in your book, and Shelley tells me that it was just a minor correction.
Make a motion to be approved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right. Committee members, the hour's late. We have much to do. We have a council meeting that we need to start at 4 o'clock. My recommendation, I entertain a motion to this effect, is that we take care of a number of housekeeping items. I think there are some amendments to the agenda that we may as well get done. Then I think we should gavel this meeting into a recess, that we would reconvene later today. And so I would entertain a motion. I understand there's going to be a motion to amend the agenda. Councilor Jordan.
Yes, I have a motion to amend the agenda to move number 12, discussion and possible action for the removal of the requirement that recent CMB board appointees clear certain background checks prior to commencing service on the board. I ask that be moved up to I ask that be moved up even before old business.
Yes, sir. So the motion is to move item number 12 to be the one immediately before old business, seconded by Councilman Hargis.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
And I would ask for a friendly amendment for the motion to amend the agenda to also include, which was emailed out as well, Kenneth Prather's resolution honoring him as an Eagle Scout.
I would
That was at the request of the
accept that,
chair
too.
to go ahead with this meeting.
Okay. All right, so we have all my clear on the...
I would ask, in the spirit of cooperation too, that we move agenda item under old business, item 3 and 4, up just behind item 12 and the new item. I believe that's Kara's Sexual Offender Act. I think our questions have been answered on that, and so we're ready to move on that.
So move that up.
And may I address Councilor
Certainly.
Watts? Councilor Watts, did that need to go to full council tonight?
I believe it did. It was the AG's office. Christie had asked that in the memo, yes.
Okay.
And she's shaking her head, yes. Thank you.
So I think there's a sense of urgency on that. We probably need to send that on
Okay.
to full council. So
Okay,
I would
and-
ask to add those other two.
And Counselor, is it your goal to address those items before we recess? or-
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
all right,
before we
that's-
recess.
So that's the reason you're putting those ahead?
All four of those.
All right, very good. All right, so the motion's been made. We have a second. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Very good. I would entertain a motion to dispense with the oral presentation of the reports.
So moved.
All right, so moved and second, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. And representatives of the administration, we appreciate your patience, but we've got some urgency attached to this. Shelley, refresh my memory, what did we just do on amending the agenda so I don't get off the line here? I think we're in agenda item number 12, which is...
Prior to old business, new business 12.
New business 12. Councilwoman Boyd Jordan, you sponsored this, is that correct?
I believe, is Mr. Stewart here?
Yes.
We're going to take up item 12, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
And
Could Mr. Stewart come forward? Item 12 is a resolution amending each one of the resolutions that confirm the appointment of 10 new members to the CMB board. If you all will recall, those particular resolutions contained a clause, I believe proposed by Mr. Baker, Jack Baker, that they pass certain background checks. And since that, and this had to do with the defense contracts. And since that time, and I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Stewart, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Stewart, we found out that there's not really a need for those final checks, that it can be another type, which is, I believe has been put in each one of these. It says back up for new business item number 12. Each one of these resolutions have been amended to include the terminology to seat that board. Is that correct? Seat those board members. And now I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Stewart so he can explain more.
Well, as you know, this top secret and secret clearance has been a complicated issue. It's intertwined in some of the contracts that we have with some companies that we bought. We're currently operating a couple of top secret contracts that have been novated from a previous company. Those are currently in operation. And every month, those go down because we bill, and we've got about $2 million on top secret contracts. But I think the fundamental question, the reason that I'm really up here in support of a change, is that when you look at our business in terms of just put it in perspective, we make $100 million on gaming, and we make a lot less than that in the other side of the business. And so what we're doing is we're holding back the company from a transition in leadership of this new board, and we're almost in a holding pattern. We've been there for 4 or 5 months, and when we really look at the business risk, in my opinion, it's a higher risk to not get this change in leadership and the new board seated compared to the risk of not getting these few contracts that we might get. There are some proposals out there for top secret contracts. We don't have them. If we get them, we have 3 to 4 months to get top secret clearance. So if we are awarded those contracts, it's not like we're not, they'll be lost. We still have the 3 or 4 months to get them. And the profit from those contracts are, less than a couple of $1 million at the max, when we have $100 million a year that we're not managing really efficiently because we don't have this new board in place. And it's really time that we look at what is the best way to run our business. Absent all these other issues, the profit we make from these top secret contracts is not significant. It's not even sure that we would lose them if we got them. Okay? So what we can do is we can seat with secret clearance the new board members, continue to apply for the top secret, and go ahead and seat these new members. And this council has approved these new board members, and they're positioned and ready to be seated. But we can't do it because we have this top secret caveat or condition on their addition to the board. And so I think changing that to secret allows us to move forward. It doesn't really risk income to us. I believe we could overcome those issues. But it allows us to move forward with managing the company more effectively and getting leadership for myself and management in respect of the new administration and new initiatives. A lot of the current initiatives are on hold. And we just don't need to allow this to go on very much longer. So that's why I recommend it. We're ready to move forward. We don't want to lose the momentum that we have. And I believe it's in the best interest to change this to secret.
Councilor Laura Jordan, you still have the floor.
Yes. Based on that information, I would put in the form of a motion that we remove that additional requirement on each one of those resolutions that were passed prior to this meeting. And based on what Mr. Stewart has said, I would ask that if we should pass this amendment on each one of these resolutions, that it go to full council tonight, so that we can allow you to do your business and carry on your business at CMB. And I want to make sure in that motion, Todd, or Attorney General Hembry, we have been handed this packet. Does this packet read exactly as it needs to read so that we can seat that board? I guess even as tomorrow they have a meeting, I assume, and it sounded like they want to seat the board tomorrow.
What this does, well, and I'll read the language. It says, be it resolved that, for instance, this one says Jerry Holderby, is hereby confirmed as a member of the Board of Directors of Cherokee Nation Businesses, LLC, and its successors for a term that expires September 30th, 2014, provided, however, that such term shall not commence until the later of, 1, the effective date of this resolution, which is when it's signed, and the date upon which either member, strike that, the date upon which such member either receives interim personnel clearance or is excluded by the appropriate regulatory body from access to classified information. So that would mean that they would receive interim clearance, which in this case would be, it doesn't say top secret clearance, it just says interim clearance. That could be secret clearance. Secret clearance takes a matter of days.
Does it need to say secret?
Interim secret?
Yeah.
Mr. Huffman? It doesn't specify any of it. So, I mean, if the council feels more comfortable putting secret, that's fine. But it doesn't. But it definitely does not specify top secret.
That's all they did at this point. Interim secret.
It's interim secret. So if you,
Is that the beginning?
that's the beginning step.
Now, have all of our people, to your knowledge, have they all received that at this point in time?
Everyone that has filled out an application, completed an application, has received interim secret.
Well, actually, we have 6 members. We have the others have applied. We have 1 that has not. So we would have 6 that could seat immediately.
Yeah.
And then the process would be that when they receive interim secret, they would automatically go on as board members. And that's what we want. We want to go ahead and seat the 6. Then as the others get their clearance, they could be added.
So you all are fine with this language, with the insertion of interim personnel secret clearance?
Yes, that's technically
Follows
what it is.
Okay. Then that would be my motion.
Councilor Laura Jordan, is your motion to pass these in toto, assuming you get a
Yes.
second?
Yes.
And you have a second from Councilor Byrd, and I had Councilor Thornton down next, if you are done.
Yes.
Councilor Thornton.
Yes, David,
Yes.
would you more or less kind of go over the procedures for the secret clearance? And
Well, there's a
I'd like
quite,
to know what it involves.
it's a lengthy questionnaire about your personal history. And it asks you, if you're a terrorist or if you'd have any foreign connections or any of those kinds of things. It's about, a 20 or 30 page application. And so it's just a detailed history. You want to know your friends, your family, and what they do is they interview those people and to make sure that you don't have any foreign connections that might jeopardize the integrity of information that you might have access to.
Are they fingerprinted?
Yes.
Have they had background checks, federal background checks,
Yes.
in state, OSBI?
OSBI, well, for the gaming application, they would have background checks, correct? Yeah. With all of our applications,
What you're saying is that everything except the top secret has to do with contracts, which I can understand some of that. I used to work for North American Aviation. We had to get a clearance through Nassau. To get a clearance through Nassau, you had to have a top secret clearance. So those type of contracts is what you're talking about.
That's correct.
Will those contracts come in for CNI, or what company would those contracts come in for?
well, we don't know. They might come in through any one of our companies.
Okay.
But if we get this at the C&B level, then that applies to the rest of the companies. And that's why we're trying to get it at the C&B level.
Okay.
Because
So-
then any company could get a contract with top secret clearance,
Okay, then they also...
or secret or top secret.
What they're doing on secret is more or less a background check and fingerprinting and going through OSBI.
Yeah, but it's more than that.
And checking what they tell you.
Right. It's a lot more than that. Yeah, so it's pretty extensive. By the time you add...
I mean, just letting them write down what they've done in the past, that
Well, no, but they interview
not
your...
much of a check. But
They interview your friends, your next door neighbors.
I mean, it's the same thing as top secret, except
What they do is they go back another 3 years if you go into top secret, and then they ask you a few more questions, and they just go a little deeper into top secret than they do secret. And so once you get interim secret, it's not that long before you get top secret. They've done a majority of the work in that, but they just have a little more work to do.
Okay.
Does that answer your...
I'll be voting for this.
Thank you, Councilman. I've got Councilman England next.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. I just have one question, David. Is there a drop dead date on when they would apply for the top secret? Or
Well-
is there just a floating time in there?
Well, they've all filled out the applications except for one, and we're in the final stages of that. Okay, so by probably tomorrow, all of the new board members will have applied for top secret. 6 have been awarded secret. So those are the ones that would come on board under this proposal. And then when the others get their secret, they would come on one at a time. Because the secret clearance, if you look at our secret and top secret contracts, 95% are secret. And that's why this makes sense, because we want to preserve that 95%. We only have a very small piece that's top secret, and we're willing to run the risk of that. We can work with the government. We're doing it now, and we can do it for another few months.
So we'll be running a risk.
Well, no, there's no risk. If we put secret, only secret approved board members on, we preserve all of our secret contracts. All right? We're still in application for that. It's like $2 million of top secret. But the government, they know we've applied and they're aware of it. And so they haven't exercised any right to say, you're not going to get that or they're going to be terminated. Because we've been doing this for 3 or 4 months. So it is a fluid, it's not a hard and fast, it's done.
Right.
The government they're working with us on this issue.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. We have Councilman Baker.
Yes. Who issues the interim personnel clearance?
DSS.
Okay, then I would ask for a friendly amendment that we say that they receive an interim personnel clearance from...
Well, secret. If you just put secret in there, we would be fine. Interim secret
Well, see,
clearance.
this is interim personnel clearance.
I know it.
It doesn't say who issues it, and I think it should say who issues that.
We can do that. That's not a problem for clarification.
So I said as a friendly amendment to add that.
So that would be interim, the language would say receives interim personnel secret clearance from the DSS.
Could
From
I
the
ask,
issuing agency.
Could I
We'll
ask,
Issue-
from the issuing agency?
From the issuing
Issuing
agency, and I think that's DSS. We'll make sure.
And can I ask a quick question before I accept or don't
Do
accept?
you yield to the council? Yes, Councilman.
David, I want to be sure that
Okay.
the language is correct, so the six that have done all their work.
Right.
And you want to accept, can be accepted once this is passed at full council.
Okay.
Bob, do you or David need to tell us exactly what that language needs to say?
The question is whether secret is in here.
Yeah, we should say interim secret personnel clearance.
Okay, interim secret personnel clearance.
And
Okay.
Councilman Baker, is that what you're asking?
Well, and from
From-
which agency?
From DSS. We will add that.
From the issuing agency?
Yeah, or
from-
DSS.
From DSS.
We'll add that.
Are we sure that's who it's coming from?
Yes, we're sure about that.
And what is it?
DSS, Defense, I just work here, so we'll find out from the expert, okay? So we'll find out in just a second. But I think for clarification purposes, we'll add the issuing agency.
I would accept
And
that.
yeah,
friendly
that's-
amendment.
Okay.
Is that all, Councilman?
No, another question, please.
Okay.
Now, we have two $27 million contracts, 40-some million. Are those based on secret or top secret?
We have two contracts that we have bids out on. Well, actually one that's about
One is
50 million.
artificial.
It's about
Okay.
50 million. All right? And so we expect to be here from that in the next 3 to 4 weeks. Now, the government understands that everybody doesn't have top secret clearance. So what they do is they give you a grace period to get your top secret clearance from the time you're awarded until the time that you start work. And we're going to start work on that contract, if we get it, in June or July. So what we would do is we would work diligently with all of the people that have already applied. And so what we found is that once you get interim secret, it's not that big a stretch to get it. It's just a matter of process. So we would have, under those conditions, a 60 to 90 day period to get the top secret. And we believe we could do that. So the alternative is that you hold off and you don't do that and you don't seat these board members, and then we're 90 more days before we have an action plan for the company. And that's what I'm saying is just, as the leader of this organization, we need to get this settled. We need to get on with it.
So there's still a possibility of losing it.
There is a possibility. And I would say that under this circumstance in business, there's always a possibility of anything happening. But the risk is very low that we would lose it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more? Thank you, Councilor. Councilman Keener.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. David, if I heard you correctly, you said that the current board is ineffective?
No, I did not say that.
I guess I misunderstood.
Yeah. What I said is we are currently focused on operations of the company. The gaming side is doing very well. We're above budget. We don't have any debt. But the initiatives that are related to economic, diversification and where those jobs are and how we go about it, those have been kind of in a, we haven't done anything to spend capital in a way that might be different than a new administration would have it spent, or a new board. Okay? So this new board may want to spend $20 million instead of acquiring these kinds of companies, acquiring those kinds of companies. And so in respect of the new board and the new administration, the board and management have agreed not to do that. That doesn't mean it's ineffective. It means that we've made a conscious decision to respect that situation.
Kind of coasting until the new board's seated.
No, I wouldn't say we're coasting. I mean, our financial results are good. We're working hard in the companies. We're working on organic growth versus acquisition growth. Our current strategy is acquisition growth. So what we said is that may not be the new strategy. So we focused on internal growth a different way. So the energies are still spent. It's just spent in a different way. And that would be a strategy would define how you spend that time. And so I wouldn't call it coasting. I wouldn't call it ineffective in any way. Our numbers are good. They're strong. And
As the CEO, you just want them to step aside so the new board can come in?
No, I don't want that.
Okay, what are you saying?
I want the new board members that this body has approved to be a part of what they were designed to do, and that was to participate in the leadership of C&B. And they are not able to do that at this point.
Okay, and then if let's say they were approved today, then how long they'd be seated tomorrow or next week?
That's correct. And so under that scenario, we would have 6 new members, and we would have, I think, 5 or 6 of the old members that would stay on. So we would have this combination and continuity of old members and new members. So then together they would lead the charge and define the direction of the company. It wouldn't be this group the old group would not just be non-existent. They've played a big role in the growth of the company, and they would continue to do so. I mean, that continuity is critical, that they be there in cooperation with the new board members.
And the continuity will happen, just it won't be on the accelerated timetable, right?
You mean if we didn't do this?
Right.
Yeah, we would wait we don't know how long we would wait.
Well, you say a month, 3 months?
Well, yeah, it could be a month, 2 months, 3 months. Okay. But the business risk of not getting them in my opinion, is far greater than the business risk of possibly losing this bid, which I think we won't under any circumstance.
So the old board will stay on once the new board is seated?
Yes. Their terms, the ones that their terms have terminated and they're up, they would go off the board under the natural rotation of their term. The ones that remain, they still have terms left, so they would stay. Okay. So we have a couple going off. Immediately when this happens, 2 will roll off under their term limit, and then we have some that remain. Okay.
I mean, would that be new?
New, I think 6, and I believe we would have, 6 that would 5 that would remain. So we'd have 5 old, 6 new.
How much longer would the 5 old stay?
There are 3 of them have another year, and then the others have another 2 years. So they alternate, have rotating times.
Mr. Chairman, I call for a question. Question's been called. We have several more speakers lined up. I'm going to treat it as a motion to cut off debate. So the question's been called. It's a motion to cut off debate.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Question fails. Councilman Count-Watts.
Thank you. I guess we didn't get the language until last night. And we have no council attorneys, so I'm a little bit concerned about actually evaluating what's on the table. But the old resolutions, the way I understood them was, there's nothing to preclude you guys from seating those folks already. If it's a matter of them in being involved with the board and getting paid to be on the board or whatever else, that they can still be seated as long as we have people that have passed the fence and they're applying in the process and they've already received their interim.
Yeah.
So I assumed once they got their interim, as long as you had core people still left that were in that process, those people could go ahead and be seated.
No, they can't. That's not the case.
Okay. So even with that, the language that's on here, it doesn't guarantee, because what I remember was the original intent for those resolutions was not just these top secret clearances, but horse racing licenses, gaming licenses, all that kind of stuff, that if they were ever excluded under one of those licenses, that they would have to resign from the board. And I don't, is that clear in this language that that would still be the case?
The original intent was that they would apply for those licenses, and if they were rejected, then they would step off the board, okay?
Right.
So, I mean, it wasn't that they would have to get those licenses first, that they would just apply for them. And in order to be, whether that's in the resolution language or not, you have to get a gaming license to be on a CMB board. You have to get a horse racing license to be on the CMB board. So
let me ask
they
it a
have to do it
different way.
anyway.
Regardless of the resolution, if these folks either don't apply for a license, or they apply for a license and they are not qualified for something that is to do with the business of CMB, they would have to be removed, or they would remove themselves.
Yeah, they
Is that
can't-
correct?
they can't-
It doesn't take this resolution to do
Right,
that.
right. They have to have those licenses in order to be on the board.
Regardless of this resolution, they have to have those requirements in order to be a board member with regard to the gaming operation and the horse
Okay.
racing. Now, on the issue of the top secret and so we're going from top secret in the additional resolution to secret. And what that does is it allows to go ahead and seat these 6 board members. If we wait for top secret, that's a much more lengthy process. And what I'm saying is, don't let it be a lengthy process. Let's change it to secret, seat the board members, and let's get on with it.
So Chief Baker promises double the revenue. I'm all about that. So let's get him on the board and let's let him double the revenue if that's what he can do. So.
Councilor Conwas, does that satisfy your
Yep,
questions?
thank you.
Thank you. And we have one more, Councilor Garvin, our last questioner. I know you'll be brief.
My question's been answered. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilor. All right. Debate's been exhausted. Entertain are you calling the question, Councilman?
Me?
Yes.
I just have one question, but has the question been called?
I'm going to call it. Questions? Call the question. Out of deference to the speaker, do you have a very brief question?
No, go ahead.
Okay, question's been called. All minds are clear. We're passing items 12A through J inclusive in toto. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Yeah, the yeses. Councilwoman, did you have a motion?
We have 3 more items.
Councilwoman, I would entertain a motion to recess this meeting until a recess or a adjournment of the council meeting so that we can continue our business. I can't make that motion. I'd entertain it. Mr. Hembry?
I would recommend at this time that the council recess this meeting so that we may reconvene, we may travel over to the council chambers, convene the tribal council meeting, recess that meeting, or after whatever actions you take, recess that meeting and either stay there or come back here for the remainder of the rules meeting and the executive finance meeting.
And that would require, Mr. Hembry, that we quickly gavel in and gavel out the executive
Finance, yes.
I make that motion.
All right, motion's been made, it's been seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Ayes have it.
Yes.